can a $150 cigar deliver on its value when there are $5 cigars out there that are mouthwatering? Let's put some smoke in the air and find out. That is a solid cutter. I'll tell you what. Starting out pretty good. I can already start to taste that there is some amazing flavors in here. The Cohiba Spectre has an insane price, but it's not even close to the most offensive. That honor goes to the Gurkha Royal Courtesan, which goes for $1 million a piece. And by piece, I don't know if that means per box or per stick. Either way, it's stupid. But I want to try one. That being said, $120 for a single stick is ridiculous. And that's if you buy it by the box. I had to pay $150 for this to get it by itself. But how can a company justify that price? Especially when they up the price per cigar by $30, inflation I guess, but really? And they increase production to 500 boxes up from 180 boxes in the first 2 runs. They did, however, skip the 2020 production, which means they should have had about 360 boxes. I don't know where the extras came from. I guess there's demand for this stick. To all the people out there buying this, I hope you know what you're doing. It is smooth, it has a lot of flavor. No complaints so far, well, besides the price. Now Cohiba, they have plenty of marketing talking points to try and justify the price of this cigar, and I'm sure they believe it's worthy. It's mostly all about the tobaccos used in here. The least interesting leaf on this cigar is the wrapper. It's a beautiful, oily, shiny wrapper, it looks great, but that has nothing to do with enjoyability of the flavors in a cigar. And I say it's the least interesting because it's just an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. It is aged 5 years, which is above normal, but not by too much. And they did put it through a 6-month second fermentation process. The binder, according to General Cigar, which is Cohiba's parent company, and for those of you that are confused, this is a Dominican Cohiba, not a Cuban Cohiba. Those are separate companies. We'll do a whole video on that soon. The binder in this cigar comes from Connecticut River Valley, United States tobacco, so it's going to be more expensive, labor's more expensive. But there are other companies that use Connecticut River Valley tobacco and aren't even close to this price. Although Cohiba does say that the binder in this cigar is wrapper quality, and that's kind of a theme throughout the cigar. I just want to add though, Foundation Cigars and Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust use a lot of Connecticut River Valley broadleaf, and it doesn't even come close to this price. Those are usually $15 to $20 cigars. And when you get to the fillers of this cigar, that's when it gets a little bit more interesting. Let's start with the Nicaraguan tobacco. It is from a 2017 lot grown in Jalapa Valley. Jalapa is where the majority of wrapper quality tobacco is grown in Nicaragua. Nicaragua doesn't produce a lot of wrapper quality leaves, so that's pretty impressive. To add a little special note to it, they take that Jalapa wrapper quality tobacco and they age it in Spanish sherry casks. So that's a little bit special. You typically don't use barrel aging for fillers, pretty much just wrappers. So that's cool. And then there is the other filler in here, which is a 2014 lot Dominican Piloto Cubano, which is aged in Tercios, which is a palm-wrapped bale, which is different than the more common burlap or nylon bales. All right, we're about an inch into this. The flavors are good. It's got a very nice sweet quality to it. It's a little too dry, so let's wet the palate and see if it opens up a little bit. And since this is a special cigar, I'm pairing it with a very special whiskey, the Ichiros Chichibu, the peated. Ichiros is a very special Japanese distillery. They have like 20 employees, they barely put out anything. Very special stuff, very hard to come by, worth every penny. So that does take down some of that mouth dryness. And it does give it, it's just a very smooth, flavorful cigar. The smoke quality is pillowy, silky, just pretty awesome. I don't know if it justifies the price, but it is a very good cigar. I'm enjoying it a lot. Yeah, that's up there with the finer Davidoffs, which I never thought I'd be saying about Dominican Cohibas. Let's talk a little bit more about the Tercios bales that they age the Dominican filler in. The benefit to using a Tercios or palm tree bark is they can age the tobaccos longer and they can do it at a lower temperature. And the thing about bale aging is that it's kind of like the polish on the tobacco. It's the last process before you start putting the cigar together. And that's what gives the tobaccos those very hard to get nuanced flavors that make cigars more special. Also, the Dominican Piloto Cubano fillers in here is another region where wrapper tobacco comes from. So almost every part of this cigar could be wrapper quality, which does give it an edge in that special department. So I don't know if that's marketing. It's a good cigar, very Davidoff quality. $100 though, $150. I mean, I'm glad I'm smoking it now, but I don't think I'd ever buy another one. Well, we're into that second third now, and this thing is still the same. It hasn't changed much, which is good because I like the flavor. I don't need a cigar to be complex and changing to enjoy it. Some people like those twists and turns. I like a cigar to taste good, and this one tastes good and it's consistent. And you can also see by this ash, it is a very high quality roll. So typically when you use lighter tobaccos and the lighter bodied cigars, you get a more brittle ash that breaks easier. And that is part of what makes this cigar special. Cohiba only lets one pair of rollers roll this cigar. One buncher, one roller. That's it. No one else is allowed to touch this cigar. And that is indicative of the result here. And I am very clumsy. I drop my ash on my lap all the time. This thing is staying pretty solid. Like I said. All right, it's actually changing a little bit. I'm getting a more nuttier, oakier quality now. Not my favorite, but it still has some sweetness to it. It still has some leathery, earthy goodness to it. It's got a little bit of kind of cherry flavor in it. Very light hint of pepper. I like pepper where you get the flavor, not so much the burn. And this has that. If you're gonna charge over $100 for a cigar, even over $50 for a cigar, that has to give you the kind of experience that's so good that you wanna hunt down every single last one of those cigars. I have experienced that in the past with the Don Pepin Garcia 10th anniversary limited edition 2013 cigar. That one I would pay $100 a cigar for. If you have one, hit me up, I will buy it off of you. I think they were like $25 a cigar when they came out. Me and my friends bought like 6 boxes of them because that's all we can find. We would have bought more. That is a cigar worth $100 today. Like I probably wouldn't have paid $100 a cigar for it back then, but I reminisce about it all the time. And today I would definitely pay $100 for that. It's a good cigar. It's a very good cigar. But there are other cigars that are way cheaper, 5 times cheaper, 6 times cheaper, that'll make you just as happy. No need to go waste your money. I already wasted mine. If you have smoked this cigar and you disagree with me, please let me know. I would love to hear your experience. I have an average smoker's palate. I don't have a chef's palate, so I can't get all the crazy nuances. If you can, maybe it's worth it for you. Maybe it has some subtle flavors in there that just make this thing perfect, but that's not me. Or like 90% of other smokers out there. Having a chef's palate is like having a pitch perfect ear. You know, not everybody has it, and if you do, it's almost like having a superpower. Now, if you want to know about a cigar that is worth every penny, go check out our review of the Metallica M81 by Drew Estate. That is an amazing value for that cigar. Go look at that.